hear you. Good evening, Madam Mayor. It is 6:02 and we are live.
Thank you very much. Let's get started. Can I have the call the roll, please?
Mayor Betty Resch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Christopher McVoy is absent. Commissioner Sarah Maliga,
Present.
Commissioner Kimberly. Good evening, Commissioner Kimberly Stokes is absent. Commissioner Ronaldo Diaz.
Here.
Thank you. The invocation will be led by Commissioner Diaz.
Join us tonight in a moment of silence for the individuals, families, and friends who have been affected by mental health and the loss of loved ones. I can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any additions, deletions, or reordering?
None, Madam Mayor.
Do I have you guys are going to be busy tonight. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve as is.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Diaz?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. It passes. Presentation. First, we have a presentation by Stephen Barassa, PhD, Chair of FAU's Department of Urban and Regional Planning, and James Gamak Clark, Senior Instructor in FAU's Department of Geoscience. Sciences. More than one.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Stephen Barassa. James Gammon Clark is actually giving a presentation up in Boynton Beach, down in Boynton Beach, I should say, tonight. So I'm here by myself. Let me start at the beginning of this.
Okay, I just want the record to reflect that Commissioner Stokes has entered the building.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me to come and speak to you about your need for redistricting, or you might call it districting, I'm not sure which. I'm going to talk about our team. I'm going to discuss your amended city charter, talk about the data we use for redistricting, the parameters we use to redistrict, the process we go through, and then I'm going to list some questions that we have for the commissioners, as well as give you an opportunity to ask me questions, of course. So I'll start out with the team. I'm the sort of, I guess you could say, ringleader of the group. I'm the chair of the Department of Urban and Regional Planning at FAU. The other members of the group are James Gammon Clark, who's in the Department of Geosciences, Ronald Schultz, who's also in the Department of Geosciences, and Michael Stamm, who's in my department. And collectively, this group of people has many decades of redistricting for dozens of municipalities, mainly in the Southeast Florida region. And we're working or have been working with a number of municipalities in Broward County and Palm Beach County in this round of redistricting following the 2020 census. So your city charter, as you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know here, but your city charter was amended by referendum on March 8th to provide for election of commissioners by district rather than at large. The mayor continues to be elected at large. And then here's a quotation from the city charter, which outlines that point. So the issue now is to make sure that the districts are more or less of equal size in terms of population, so that we have equal representation in the city. Since the commissioners are going to be elected by district, doesn't really matter that much if they're not elected by district. This wouldn't be an issue. You wouldn't need to go through this process, but now you do. So the data that we use is the Census Bureau's 2020 Census Redistricting Summary Files, which is referred to as the Public Law 94-171 data. This is really the only population data that has been released so far from the 2020 census. It's the data that is used throughout the country at all levels of government for districting, including for congressional districts, for state representative districts, and at the municipal level. And at the municipal level, we use the smallest unit of analysis possible because municipalities are small, so we need to work at that level. So we focus on census blocks, which are the smallest units, geographical units in this data. At some higher levels of government, for example, for congressional districting, they may use census tracts, which are collections of blocks. And we aggregate census blocks to form, well, at least for the city of Lake Worth Beach, we would aggregate the census blocks to form the 4 voting districts and the alternatives that we will develop. Now, we can also, and we have done this for most of the cities that we have redistricted for in the round. We can also make projections, population projections up to some point in the future. The 2020 census date was already over 2 years ago. By the time you actually have your next election, it's going to be 4 years in the past. So you may want us to develop population estimates through some date in the future, which will enable you to have a more accurate breakdown of the districts, or more greater equality across the districts based on the expected population growth.
Can you use projected numbers?
Oh, yeah, we do it all the time. Yeah, you don't have to. And it's something that you're going to have to decide whether you want us to do or not up front. And the way we do this is we get data from your staff about permitted projects that are expected to be completed by some particular date, whatever the cutoff date is. The date we've been using for the other cities that have asked us to do this was January 2023. But there's nothing magic about that date. It just seemed like a good, not too far in the future. So we could estimate population growth up to that point fairly confidently, but far enough in the future that, we wouldn't be developing districts that were a date as soon as they were adopted by the commission. Now, not every city has done it. In fact, Fort Lauderdale, for example, which has had enormous growth in parts of the city, asked us not to do population projections. So it's really up to you. So the parameters we use for redistricting, the main thing is population equality across districts. And the guideline here is a maximum 10% spread between the largest and smallest districts. And this is the main thing, the main criterion that is widely used in redistricting. We also ensure that the districts that we propose are geographically contiguous, and they're as compact as they can be. And in doing that, we try to follow major natural and man-made boundaries, for example, major streets or railroads or other such boundaries. We also try to respect communities of interest, such as neighborhoods, because typically neighborhood organizations don't like to have to report to 2 commissioners. They want to interact with one. So that's another factor that we try to take into account. But the population equality is the main thing. That's the issue, real issue that we have to satisfy. Sometimes there's some give and take among these other criteria. Sometimes for the sake of population equality, we can't always avoid for example, breaking up a neighborhood. It may not be possible, but we try not to do that. So the process, we start out by looking at the existing district boundaries, and we use the 2020 data. Well, first we look at the 2020 data without the projections, without the population projections. So the real question there is, are the districts out of balance? And if you ask us to do the population projections, we'll include those also at this point and determine if taking the projections into account, you are or not out of balance. Because if your existing district boundaries outline districts of relatively equal population that satisfy that 10% criteria, there's no point in changing anything, right? If it's not broken, fix it. So at that point, if that were the case, we would come to you and say, well, it looks like you don't need to redistrict. So we should probably stop here. So generally, there are two main steps. One is the first step is to analyze the current districts using either the 2020 data or the 2020 data supplemented with the population projections up to some future date. So then if, however, the districts are out of balance, then the next steps are something like this. We usually have a public meeting, invite the public to come and let us present our analysis of the existing districts and explain how they're in balance, explain the process, what I'm talking about tonight, and gather recommendations from the public for new districts. What do they think about the preferred boundaries for new districts? We typically also have some kind of workshop meeting. Sometimes we meet individually with commissioners, but sometimes often we meet with them as a group, and we give a presentation and get feedback from them about what they would like to see. And then once we've done that, we're in a good position to prepare alternatives, new alternative options for redistricting. And typically we prepare at least 3. Oftentimes we've done more than 3. Just depends on what the municipality wants. For example, in Fort Lauderdale, we wound up doing 9 or 10.
Wow.
But 3 is the minimum. So to give you some options to choose from. And then we could have another public workshop with the commission to discuss the alternatives before the alternatives go to the first reading of the ordinance. Typically, the way cities have done this is they'll schedule the first reading of the redistricting ordinance even before they've decided which option they want to choose. And they'll just say that in the ordinance that the option is the attached map, and then attach the map for whatever option they've decided. Alternatively, you may decide at a workshop type meeting, which this has also happened, where the commissioners have all agreed that they prefer one particular option at the workshop, and then it's clear what the vote is going to be at the first reading. Mm-hmm. So then you can be more specific in your ordinance. So first reading, second reading. Next thing we do is prepare the map files for the county supervisor of elections, and then the supervisor of elections will take those into account. Of course, you have to decide what the effective date is for these boundaries. Maybe it's going to be some point in the future. Maybe it's right away. Usually it's right away, but maybe not. One thing we also try to avoid doing is unseating a city commissioner. In other words, moving a commissioner out of his or her district. So that I'm not sure exactly what your charter says about that, but in some municipalities, as soon as a commissioner is not living in his or her district, they can't be a commissioner anymore.
That's correct.
Is that what it is here?
Yep.
Yeah. So we try to avoid that.
Yeah, we don't want to move.
So that's the process. And so the questions we have, which I guess we don't need to answer right at this moment, but if we do wind up submitting a proposal, we should know in advance of submitting the proposal whether you think this process is acceptable. Do you like the proposed public meeting, workshop, et cetera? Are those the right number of meetings and type of meetings? And then the second question is really important. Do you want to base redistricting on the 2020 census data, or do you think there's been some significant population growth in certain areas that needs to be taken into account since the census? And related to that, if you want to use population projections, what do you want the cutoff date to be?
What is normal?
Well, like I said, the other cities we've worked with have all used January 2023.
Oh, that's just like 6 months. Yeah.
Well, how often, what is the recommended timeline for how often we should be revisiting this? Because if it's every
Every 10
20
years.
years, every 10?
Oh, yeah, you should do this after every census.
Okay.
So, you could say to yourselves, in regard to the, whether you want to use projections or not, you could say, okay, well, let's just stick with the 2020 census. Those numbers are more hard and fast than the projections. And any growth we'll pick up next time, which will be, 10 years from now, approximately, or 9 years. So this is probably would be doing a little bit sooner next time around, because this release of the data was delayed this time by COVID. So normally we would probably have finished this process already for all the cities that we've been working with.
Right. Interesting, because we do have a couple of large, the Bohemian's going to be opening. We've got the Gulf Stream in a couple of years going to be opening. It's going to be a little wonky in terms of one would think.
Yeah, I noticed we've got a big building going up just over here.
And it's interesting to use population versus registered voters.
It is, that's why they do it.
Yeah, but it's definitely not based on voters, it's population.
No, I said it's just interesting that you do because this is a voting conversation.
Yeah, but it's really a matter of representation.
Mm.
And you all represent everybody, whether they're eligible to vote or not.
Absolutely.
Children,
Yeah, that's
people
true.
who are incapable of voting.
And we've had so many people move here in the last year and a half since the census was answered. Obviously, Florida's a boom.
Yeah.
So we're already kind of behind, like you said.
So you may want to take the projections into account.
Yeah.
Well, now, one thing we could also revisit that a little bit later. So we could get the information about the new developments, take that into account, show you what that means, and then you could decide then whether you want to use it or not.
It's interesting the way the city is split up into the four. And I was just looking at the map, and I'm not suggesting this because I want to live a longer than tonight. But it would be interesting if they had laid it out from waterfront to west.
Yep.
Thing, because then everybody would have some waterfront people and everybody would have some inland people. And the differences in the interests of those people are quite.
Slice it this way and
Slice it horizontally rather than it's four square. I'm not with, but as I'm looking at that, you know what? Then everybody would have a little waterfont interest, which is a different interest than
Yeah.
somebody west of Dixie.
Yeah.
Be a little more economic,
equitable.
thank you.
I was gonna suggest the same.
Oh, you
That
were
would
not.
be talking about it, but one of the challenges would be, I'll bet that a number of, if you did that, you'd have to get the city to pay for removing our houses. Because I'll bet,
Well, no, and that might be an issue, but I'm just in general.
or you'd have weird boundaries that snaked around something.
Yeah.
Like Chris,
Of
would be in the
existing.
same.
I mean, it's rare that we make such drastic.
I'm not, like I said, it's just interesting when I looked at it, there would have been more balance in representation.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
In
100%.
terms of if part of the goal, which I don't know what the preamble to the law says, but if part of the goal is to more democratize.
Mm.
So we have, my question, because there are two things that I wonder about. Because we try not to break up pockets of like similar interests, right? Or ethnicity or anything, like, we don't want to like break that up and sprinkle it around.
Well, it's against the law, actually.
Right, so would that be like we're
Have
breaking
different-
up the people that live along the intercoastal and sprinkling them
It
around?
could be.
We're just bringing them around, they'll just be represented by different people.
Yeah, the Voting
Right.
Rights Act actually prohibits that.
Yeah,
So we're not allowed to dilute.
Right.
Like if there's a minority majority district, we're not permitted to dilute that. That could definitely be challenged in court.
Tell that to them.
Although, sometimes people, residents would rather have it be diluted,
right.
we've encountered both situations. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. For example, in Boynton Beach, it seemed like they didn't want residents of the majority African-American district seemed to have some resentment about being in that kind of setting.
You mean
Because they were
together
thinking
or
of all the
split up?
history that led to that.
They want to be kept together as a
And
group.
everything that
Yeah.
led to that.
Mhm.
And, but then in different, other cities it's completely different, it's.
We'll have to see what you come up with.
Yeah.
I like the idea of including like the projected, well, like if we know we've
Yeah.
approved 2,200 doors, let's include those into the numbers or whatever we've approved in the last year.
I do have a question about, but when talking about using the census data, now we're gonna include if we include the new doors, every new door is basically getting counted. But I feel like there's pockets of our community that are traditionally underreported. So is there any way that we account for underreporting, especially the fact that the census took place during a pandemic where it was harder to reach certain pockets? So is there any way to try to account for that?
No. I mean, the census is the best data we have, and the only way to account for that would be to redo the census, which would be
Not happening.
possibly expensive
Right.
exercise, and you may not come up with a better.
And it may not have,
result than this.
depending on how it lays out, it may not have that effect. We don't know until we see what
Right, we
it's
don't.
going to be.
Um,
It might not
but-
be an
but-
issue.
But you're right, the Census Bureau did say that there were issues, that they didn't, worse than what they normally experience. I mean, there's always
Oh, yeah.
some issues. And but then subsequently, they've said that, well, it's not as bad as they thought. I don't think, so, who knows?
It's just interesting to think that the census data definitely didn't capture all of the doors.
Mhm.
But when we take a new development, that's going to capture all of the doors.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
You're correct.
Yeah, that,
Hopefully,
Next-
which will hopefully make up for the ones that didn't get captured
Yeah.
during the count.
depending on-
Depending on where
They're on the same kind of area, actually.
Yeah, I mean, but
Very
they are
different.
kind of spread out. I mean, we have, like Lord's
The Bohemian.
count, the Bohemian, Lord's Place, those are on different districts. You've got
Right,
Deco Green, which is up by,
right.
in Chris's in District 2.
Okay.
that
Are
was,
we-
that was definitely very related to my question, Commissioner Stokes. Minutia, so I don't expect to have an answer right now. Would love to learn more about this process as it goes on, but like when it comes to QA/QC of the data and stuff, I was curious on that same thing, if there was some sort of like calculation or something to make up for there was that counted in the census.
Undercount.
No,
Yeah.
because if we knew the extent to which there was an undercount.
Yeah.
The data would have been adjusted by the census. Bureau.
It's too much of an obscure number. You can't guess it, yeah.
Yeah,
What is the day? Can you remind me the day that we fill out? Because this isn't the question, like, where were you?
April
living?
1st.
April 1st. So if this is,
So all those snowbirds technically,
that's what I was curious about too.
yeah.
yeah, there's that issue too.
And hopefully the next time the census comes around in 10 years, which will come by faster than any of us think, the communities that were underreported this year will be more integrated and will be more open. There won't be a pandemic and it'll get redone again.
That's good.
And I would love to know also, I think we're all secretly crossing our fingers that it wouldn't be a drastic change.
Right.
But where there is a change, we would love to hear like your insight on, what's the effective way of communicating this change? Because especially, knocking on doors and stuff, talking to people are very, they're set on, this is my place where I vote. This is what it's always been. And I don't expect it to change. So I expect
Well,
we're
they're
gonna undertake.
Probably gonna vote in the same.
Same place, yeah.
regardless, but I think the message is that the commission is is devoted to serving all the residents of the community.
Mhm.
Just because you shift from one commissioner to
Yeah.
another, doesn't mean you're suddenly not gonna get any attention.
Right.
You're all concerned with looking out for the welfare of the whole community, so I think that's the message.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So our next action will be to come with the contract.
That's right, get a proposal.
Yeah, we can make a proposal, I guess we can communicate.
Yes.
that.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate your
you.
time. All right,
Like rock, paper, scissors. Should we just do that and see who gets what district?
that horizontal line's an interesting thought, though. Okay. Next, we have a proclamation declaring May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is why we're wearing the green t-shirts. Some of us are displaying them, some of us are wearing them. Thank you very much. And some of us are going to display them right now. Okay. I'm joking, this is a very serious problem. Whereas everyone experiences times of stress and struggles in their lives, especially in the last year due to the pandemic, social and racial injustice. And whereas 1 in 4 adults and 1 in 5 youths aged 13 to 18 experiences serious mental illness. And whereas 60% of adults and 50% of youth do not receive the treatment necessary for their mental health needs due to limited or no knowledge of the need, barriers to care, or fear and shame. And whereas research recognizes that adverse childhood experiences, which include but are not limited to physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, physical and emotional household dysfunction, untreated mental illness or incarceration of a member, domestic violence, and separation or divorce involving household members are traumatic experiences that can have a profound effect on a child's developing brain and body and can result in poor physical and mental health during childhood and adulthood. And whereas community understanding and available supports and services can greatly impact a person's ability to handle their stress and struggle and move forward. And whereas promoting mental health and wellness leads to higher overall productivity, better educational outcomes, lower crime rates, stronger economies, lower healthcare costs, improved family life, improved quality of life, and increased lifespan. And whereas studies show that the effects of ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, are felt by people regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. And whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, faith-based organization, nonprofit agency, and citizen shares the accountability for the community's mental health needs and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. And whereas the importance of attending to mental health has become even more pronounced in the last 2 years due to COVID, political and social unrest, and the resulting economic crisis, where isolation, sickness, grief, job loss, food instability, and loss of routines has increased the need for mental health services. And while at the same time, the need to protect people from COVID has made it more challenging for people to access mental health services and harder for providers to deliver this care. And whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach recognizes the impact of awareness and education, access to services, and acceptance of the importance of mental health and well-being to a person's overall success, and supports the implementation of trauma-informed approaches throughout the systems of care. Now, therefore, I, Betty Resch, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in me, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness and Trauma-Informed Care Month, where I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Lake Worth to be affixed this 3rd day of May 2022.
Carmela's here. Mayor, Carmela is here from Healthy Lake.
Oh, she is. I'm sorry. Hi, come on up.
She was standing in the back.
Out of my glasses. Let's do a picture. Let's everybody do a picture. All this together. I don't know, what do you think? I didn't. If you turn sideways. There you go. Like, it sounds like angled parking.
Angled parking. We are
Back end or front end?
Come on, slide in, however we can.
Look at the tall one in the middle.
Right? I learned not to stand next to them. Sorry.
Oh, sure, of course.
Do you want to get in front of me? Okay.
Ready?
You tell us, sir.
No, I got tennis shoes.
So do our knees up.
Please, don't. Okay. All right. Ready?
Thank you. Thank you so
Wait,
much.
go back, one more.
Yes. I have a friend, I gotta find a, it's better, there's no.
I just took like 5.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you very much, really. Everything that y'all do. The teams.
I haven't forgotten, I just wanted
I like your shirt, Kim. That's cute.
God bless it.
You know, one of these days in May, we should have everybody, all the city staff will agree
Yes.
to honor mental health. May 19th is the day. Everybody will agree.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Carmen will get on that.
Yes.
19.
Yeah, I see. You write it down. Calendar right now. We're green.
On green.
May 9th.
That's right.
Lastly, whoops. And our own dear city clerk isn't here tonight. But we have Shayla, who is a wonderful filler inner. People don't understand the importance of the city clerk. Without the city clerk, we would have no record of anything. She keeps us in line. They keep, not just she, they keep, that clerk's office keeps us in line, tells us what to say and where to go and what to do and
Not to say.
and what not to say. And we are very, very grateful for the hard work that the clerk's office does. So Shayla, we love you.
We appreciate it.
And here's a proclamation, which I think you probably printed out.
Sylvina.
That's awesome.
Proclamation, whereas the International Institute for Municipal Clerks initiated Municipal Clerks Week in 1969, which was endorsed by all of its members in the United States, Canada, and 15 countries as a time of celebration and reflection on the importance of the clerk's office. In 1984, President Reagan signed a proclamation officially declaring the first week of May as Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the Florida Association of City Clerks was established in 1972 to promote and develop the educational and professional status of Florida city clerks. And whereas this organization works in conjunction with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks to provide certified municipal clerk and master municipal clerk certifications for city clerks. And whereas this organization strives to help increase the efficiency of city clerk functions, increase cooperation and assistance with city administrators, gather and disseminate information to improve procedures and improve the efficiency of the administration of municipal government. And whereas the Florida Association of City Clerks has more than 575 members in 7 districts throughout the state and is proud to have one of the largest certification programs in the country with more than 200 certified municipal clerks and more than 100 master municipal clerks among its members. Now, therefore, I, Betty Resch, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of the Commission, do hereby proclaim May 1st through 7th, 2022 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which is an occasion worth of special recognition and to acknowledge that City Clerk Melissa Ann Coyne and Deputy City Clerk Shayla Ellis are members of both the International Institute for Municipal Clerks and the Florida Association of City Clerks. In witness whereof, I have put my hand and caused the seal of the City of Lake Worth Beach to be affixed this 3rd day of May, 2022. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If they don't get it right, it didn't happen. Fine. Next up. Commissioners liaison and reports and comments. Let's start with Commission 4, District 4.
Sure, let's see. Last time reports, I attended with Commissioner McVoy a TPA meeting recently. That was That's really good. It's really great to walk into a room of a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces, and I see like, just a tremendous opportunity that we have as a city to be involved in that and what's coming up in the nearby future. Other groups as well coming up soon. I haven't had a chance to attend yet. Like, Lake Worth Lagoon Initiative and the Water Resources Task Force and others that I want to join in on as commissioner. I keep trying to make it to neighborhood association meetings, but they have a propensity of scheduling their meetings when we have our workshops. But last time I was able to finally join in on one, Bryant Park, so I really appreciate them having me there. They had some really good comments. They were pretty excited that I was finally able to make it. And yeah, I mean, a lot of great potential to effectively communicate what they want as an association to me as a commissioner. And shocking to nobody was we were in alignment for so many things, especially on Bryant Park and in that area. So it's just been really good. And I have to say, one of the most common compliments I've been getting since taking on this seat is people out there, they are watching the meetings, whether in person and online. And one of the most common comments is they're really liking the cohesion that they're seeing and that we're getting along, we're a good balanced commission. And I agree with that, and I'm looking forward to continuing that on.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Stokes.
I don't know everything that I was up to, but most recently I was able to go to the charrette on Saturday for the L&M, well, the downtown area. I got like the timing was perfect for me because I showed up and everybody was already working, and then they wrapped up and they did their presentation. So I got to sit there and listen to the presentations of all 7 or so groups. And there's just so much overlap.
Mhm.
It was really nice to see the common interest of, and we had a good group of, it wasn't all just one group of people that always hangs out and talks about the city. There was definitely spread out. So I was excited to hear the different ideas and just to see the commonalities there. So that was great. The only other thing I just do feel like I have to mention as an educator during Mental Health Awareness Month is that I am, very disturbed by the governor who, we've taken almost all of our math textbooks out of being able to be adopted. And one of the things that he cites he doesn't want happening in our math classrooms is social emotional learning, which is critical. And we talk about mental health and we talk about the needs of our children. And we should be talking about math anxiety because it's real. So saying ignore the child, just teach them how to add is so out of touch and off base. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a kid that is there suffering from math anxiety and other issues that they haven't learned how to cope with is not going to sit there and learn the content that you're trying to teach them. And I'm just so sick of real people are suffering because of his decisions and his antics.
Absolutely.
And it is very infuriating to me. So
On so many levels.
on so many levels. I mean, I was late today because we popped by the reproductive rights rally.
It's great.
So that's why we're 2 minutes late. I apologize for that, but it's nonstop, it's overwhelming. We have work to do that we're all concentrated on. But it affects our residents, what happens in Tallahassee and Washington, DC. So I just thought that was worth mentioning.
Was the turnout good for the rally?
Good, it was they're planning a bigger one
Yes.
for when there's more notice and things like that. It just
May
is pretty
14th?
sudden.
May 14th, yeah.
Commissioner McVoy.
Ditto on concerns of Tallahassee and a lot of things that just do not seem very healthy that are coming out there. But I too was able to attend a couple things. I went to the HRPB meeting, and I also went to the L&M Street charrette or downtown charrette. And one of the things that I found really appealing about the L&M Street was some of what was mentioned, that it was a reasonably diverse group of folks in terms of viewpoints. I don't know about representation in the city. I don't think did that well on that, but that's difficult. But in terms of viewpoints, there was quite a range of folks there. I too was very struck by the consistency of what we heard from the presentations, that there is a very clear message. For me, I can't speak to whether I'm biased or not, but to me, it sounded like many of the same issues that came up a year ago in the elections
Mhm.
and that came up in these elections, that people really want to focus. Obviously, people want economic growth in our city, but not at the expense of a number of other things that they feel are important: historic preservation, green space, space for kids, affordable housing. People really don't like palm trees. It's really striking. I didn't realize it was,
Like
I like native plants and I like shade, and I know why the concern about palm trees.
Put a lot up and they make shade.
Huh? Palm trees
If you
don't
put a
make
bunch
shade.
up, they really make shade.
Not to mount.
Ah, shoot. I like
I
'em.
love my hammock under mine. I don't know.
Two of them is good for string hammocks. I thought it was a very positive experience, that it really was a good way to try to extract the feeling of what was important to people in the community. I was quite struck that the HRPB meeting was almost the opposite. And I found it really quite disappointing that there was not anything like that as far as trying to figure out what are the concerns of the community. I also was quite distressed to see that the board was not aware, as far as I could tell, and staff brought it up, was not aware that they were meeting not only to review historic aspects of the proposed project, but they were meeting as the land use board. And a lot of them did not appear to know that going into it. And that concerns me a lot, as far as, because they were reviewing a planned unit development, they were reviewing I forget the technical project of major significance, a couple other things. And going in, they did not seem to be as aware of that they had more responsibility than just to account for historic things. That concerned me about in terms of process of how we're approaching this.
Didn't they have an agenda to review before they got there?
I don't know whether that was, I'm sure they had an agenda to review, whether that was listed. That, hey, a reminder that this is part of your scope. It's a little different. It came up in the meeting that you've never done this before. You've never had a system. All of your other things have just been historical, and you would think historical board, that's what we do. But in this case, our rules are, they are doing other things. They are the land use board at that point. And I think the reason I mentioned the contrast between the two meetings is the purpose, as I see it, of either the commission or the review boards is to look at projects that come along and say, hey, that looks pretty good, but you might want to add maybe some security things on the doorknobs, or maybe you want to add this kind of vegetation or whatever. That's the point, to make some adjustments to projects. And that didn't happen at all at that meeting, which I think was somewhat of a missed opportunity.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I attended a health expo for LGBTQ seniors at Compass, which was very informative. Learned a lot about our LGBTQ senior community not having resources and having a lot of family around them, and how do we make sure that we're coming up with a buddy system. They have these great programs where you check in on your buddy every other day. And so that was cool to listen to what they were coming up with. I also attended the issues forum with the PBC intergovernmental group, which is all done via Zoom, which I like doing those meetings in the middle of the day because you can get multiple things done. Basically talking about what are the issues that the intergovernmental local group want to attack. What is, obviously housing is one of the biggest ones that they want to focus on. I did go by the CRA today to check out what has happened in the last 2 days. And I got there at 1:30, stayed till about 2:40, maybe 2:15. And about 5 people came in while I was there, in and out. So they said that they're seeing upwards to 20, 30 people a day, which I think is great.
That's great.
I'm very happy. I said, is everybody playing well in the sandbox together? To which I was told, yes, it was going very well. They, even on Saturday, they didn't have there was no clashing of heads, like that they thought there were going to be. They said that everyone it was surprisingly going well, and they're excited to be able to present to us soon. I liked some of the drawings that I seen, some of the renderings. And I got excited from looking at what happened on Saturday and seeing the progression. And those people on those little CAD drawings and the way they bring stuff to life is amazing. And the only thing I want to remind everyone is Derby Days this Saturday at Rudy's, 2:00. I think it's 2:00. 2:00 at Rudy's, Derby Days. Bring your hats, get dressed up, watch the races, and come out and support Bryant Park Neighborhood Association. And I'm very excited to see Dr. Epps in the audience today.
Absolutely. That's it. Thank you. Couple things. I was elected to be on the board of the Palm Beach County League of Cities. Woo! I guess I'll get to go to Tallahassee more than anybody else. Lucky me.
Yeah.
Okay, I also went to the charrette. I couldn't stay. I had other things I had to do. And it was great to see everybody work. I didn't get to see the presentations, but I just kind of wandered around. I didn't really participate. But one of the things that was interesting, I wore my shirt from 25 years ago of the Lake Worth Municipal Institute. And quite a few people said, "What's that?" And I said, "That's what that is." And they said, "That's a good idea." And I said, "Yes, I'm looking at the one thing I want to do with our budget this year is bring that back. And if we can also bring the community emergency, the Citizens Emergency CERT, Citizens Emergency Response Team, which was done in a different year, which was a great experience for all of us. But the Municipal Institute, I feel very strongly we need to bring that back. I'm going to be attending an organized group county regarding domestic violence and just an approach towards domestic violence. That I got an invitation to that today and figure out what day it is, but I will, bring any information back on that. And then May 1st is the day that beach parking issues are, beach parking permits are issued. And there's been a bit of a kerfuffle. So a kerfuffle, nothing that can't be fixed. There have been some issues with the website. There have been a few issues with the fact that not every, we made it completely on the internet now. Not everybody's really that internet savvy. So I met with a citizen who represented a number of citizens today at City Hall, and I thank him for coming in. And I've spoken with staff, and we're making those adjustments. We're going to be having in-person available, go in, but you have to bring a check, no credit cards, no money orders, but checks. It's going to be in person. We'll be saying, what hour, if it's going to be, what hours it's going to be. We'll put that out on the website. We'll put it out on social media so that people that just want to come in and buy it can do that in person. That was, for a lot of people, that's just easier. And sticker, now when you do register, you don't need a sticker because they're going to be reading your license plate. But there are many of us old folks and many of us not so old folks who are very sentimentally, emotionally attached to our stickers, right? And I'm one of them, and my old Volvo, my 88 Volvo's got like 8 stickers on it. So I've been there. I have not seen what the stickers that are being handed out look like, or if they have a year on them. We're waiting to hear back. But in the future, I want a sticker. We all want stickers, and it's, you can read the license plate all day long, but I want that sticker on my car. So we're going to have the year and the sticker. So that I've been promised by staff, who I want to thank, acted really quickly about this because it was a hot ticket item today. And I really appreciate you coming back to me, Carmen, and with the solution. I mean, right away, here's a solution. So thank you very much. And I guess they will be purchased at the Leisure Services Building at 17 South End. Why don't you address that?
Yes, I can add to that. Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Correct. We have made provisions to provide opportunity for those who are renewing their beach passes, parking passes, to come in person.
Or get a new one. If you're getting a new one, you can do that too.
That's right, and get a new one as well. That's right, that's right. So you can renew in person. That will be at the Leisure Services. So we will be pushing out the details on that as far as making sure everyone knows the exact location and the time period in which we're accepting and servicing everyone for their renewal or new pass. And in addition to that, we're accepting checks, no cash, because we don't want to have cash on hand. And so we're making that accommodation. And also, if those who do not have access to a computer and prefer to do it online, we'll provide available locations. For instance, the library may be available for them to go to the library and go online to try to renew there or open up a new pass. So we're looking forward to servicing everyone there. The idea of the new system is to create efficiency and improve security for the staff. And so we'll be reading the license plates now, instead of the parking staff getting out of the car, looking at the meter, I'm sorry, not the meter, but their tag to make sure they're registered. So it's more efficient, and of course, we'll be able to operate in a more productive way. So that was the aim, but we certainly want to accommodate those so that we can get those who need a pass, get a pass.
It's very funny because, I know that they're setting up electric is efficient, but we are such a small town and there are certain things that are part of our identity and part of our
We're learning
thing.
that.
It shows your L-dub. It shows you're local
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
got that.
exactly, right. And it's interesting when it pops up, you don't necessarily think ahead of time, this will be an issue, but boy, it is. So thank you very, very much. Do you have anything else to?
Action real quick.
You did, and I appreciate
We make
that.
it happen.
Do you have a report?
I do have an update along with the parking pass. I just want to let you know that I also attended the charrette this morning for a short period of time. I need to go back because I didn't get to finish looking at all the work that was done over the weekend. And I too received a wonderful response about the attendance. And Dana indicated that he received good input and suggestions and ideas. So I'm looking so forward to the presentation as well to see the great work that took place over the weekend and over the next few days. And so I do want to also announce that there's still time for those who have not attended to attend. And so tomorrow, Wednesday, May 4th, they will be at the studio from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then on May 18th at 6 to 9, we will have that work in progress presentation here in the chambers. So I just want to let the public know that there's still opportunity to be involved.
And the studio is at.
Thank you. It was just the hatch.
Yes, thank you. Is that the hatch? 1121, yes.
So much.
Also, just want to also say that the staff participated in the Moody's rating interview on April 28th. That went very well. That's the process that we're going through for our utility bond process. And so it went very well. So we look forward to some good news regarding that process. And also I will be attending the May NACP meeting. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone in the community then.
Thank you. All righty. Public participation. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments to be read?
No, Madam Mayor, I have none.
We have one card, I think. People must be on vacation.
Or we're doing just a great job.
Todd Velez.
I always think positive.
Hi, Todd.
Hello.
Dr. Epps,
Oh, yeah.
get the blue card.
Hello, Todd Velez. I wanted to bring up what you have brought up in prior meetings about the abuse and the mental health. And I looked up to make sure which month represented what, and I found out each month represents many abuse and national month and day. Anywho, I wanted to bring that up. The Baker Act capital of the county is Lake Worth. I witnessed it myself, and it's profitable, and it is a good way to put someone in their place. And I can think of someone that we discussed this. We also had in North Grade Elementary, we had an elementary child Baker acted, and it's very layered, as you know. I just wanted to bring that back up, that there is more to be said. I think I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we need more services. I mean, we need more services. There's not, right now I'm going through something with a woman I know who had she's mentally ill and she's dual diagnosis, and she's they Baker acted her, which I was glad they did. But now they're like, well, she can go home now. I'm like, to what? The same exact thing. She wants to be in a program. She wants structure, and there's no place for her to get
48
back.
hours.
No, a little more than, it was more back a week or so. Don't sit down, Dr. Epps. Come on back up.
You're the next one.
Come on in.
All right, good. Just a few minutes just to talk about the update. This is the 100th year of Lake Worth High School.
Can you, for the record, state your name and who you are?
My name is Elvis Epps, no middle name, principal of Lake Worth Community High School. And I'm just handing out just a brief Oh, we do, I just,
Yeah, I'll pass them out.
okay. And on the proposal, I just wanted to speak about just the update. Lake Worth is in the process, thank you taxpayer, $14.5 million upgrade. It has already started. We're getting new AC chillers and everything else you can talk about. The roofs were already done or need to be redone.
I have one there.
$1.4 million was spent 2 summers ago to take care of the 2 oldest buildings, the one built in 1922, the one built in 1928. To try to restructure those. This summer, they're gonna take care of the floors. The floors, wood, 1922, the termites and everything else is taking a toll on 100-year-old floors. So just give you an update. Part of the celebration, I do want to come to you today, just talk about a partnership between the Alumni Association of Lake Worth High School, the City of Lake Worth Beach, and of course, the school district with Mike Burke and school district office. And so what I put on a simple sheet, and just to get right to the point, we want to, the Friday night, which is September the 23rd, we have a first home football game against Forest Hill High School. And so I want to invite everyone to come out. Just for the record, I do want to let you know, I'm inviting everyone to come out, even though I'm retired.
I know.
What?
So
You'll come out, you'll come back to
I'll be
the,
there, I'll be there.
you'll be there, okay.
Yeah, but I won't be in charge, I'll be sitting on bleachers. So the process is looking at $20,000 and just saying what that's gonna cover. Because when I put 20,000, there's some things that may come off the table when we really look at this. It's Friday night, we're gonna start with Friday evening, of course, inviting all the alumni members to come back. That is the centennial. The school did not officially open until September the 18th, 1922. I have our first home game. It's September 23rd. And so we're looking at our first game and making it a big deal because that's when the school officially opened. We did not have a football team in 1922. And the football team, we were not known as the Lake Worth Trojans, we were known as the Lake Worth Maroons.
Maroons.
The Maroons. I do have a 19 color. Somebody voted on it.
Or they felt they were marooned in Lake Worth.
Maroons, yeah, 26, 28 when we had our first football team. So it was still some years ago. But one of the things we're looking to celebrate is the alumni members coming back. Everything's already in process and in motion. Part of the Alumni Association, they're in contact with almost 3,000 alumni members.
Wow.
And we're trying to, we're gonna recognize our oldest member, Harold Gilmore, graduated in 1948.
Whoa.
He's still an active member. His wife graduated in 1950. Still a very active member. We meet monthly. And
Wow.
they're still going in and going in. And I want to recognize them. Those are members that you add to your school hall of fame.
Mhm.
And just recognize them at halftime and also at the gala that I'm looking to, I want to request we could do something. But let me start on Friday night, 4:30, they have a tailgate party. The tailgate party celebration, school will take care of that with the music, our own school band,
Yes.
and the jazz band, the school band, the cheerleaders, the music, the food will be taken care of from the school. We do have a culinary department that can take care of that. We can have it catered. Because part of our rental lease, the money, we have about $18,000 in there now. Plus the principal discretionary funds, about $15,000, plus some other funds. So we'll be able to cover food for everyone. Won't be any alcohol, but just drinks, food, celebration, finger foods, and the band will take care of the music. The game kicks off at 6 o'clock on Friday evening. And so everybody's welcome to come, celebration. What I am proposing, I did put it in the newsletter that went out, I think it was the Lake Worth, was your newspaper with Ann Carter? Okay. Ann?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, yeah. So what we did propose is to those members who played in the band,
Oh.
please join Dr. Tiffany Cox in sitting in the band. Let's get an alumni band, a legends band, so everyone can play at halftime.
Oh, that's a great
field.
idea.
And so if you were a cheerleader, or whatever you can fit into.
Uh-oh, wasn't that you, Kim? Wasn't that you, Commissioner Stokes?
That is me.
Oh, I could
We have your sign, we have your sign. Yeah, but and just to cheer and get one of the, what do you call the horns?
Magnaphone?
Yeah, that thing right
Gotta
there.
get pom-poms.
You can.
Big pom
So,
poms.
we're gonna have the seating cushions and everything we can toss out. I am asking the former kings and homecoming king and queens, please come out so we can be recognized. But halftime is gonna be a very big deal. And so I really wanted it to be a big deal, make it a fun deal as well, just down memory lane. And so to honor, of course, a legend, former principal, Mr. Cantley, who was principal there for 19 years. They never had a principal that long, but he was there through the process and the growth, the good times, the hard times. But he, because of his tenacity and his vision, Lake Worth continued to move upward.
And he is active in the Alumni Association.
Yes, until just a year ago. Yeah, and so his health is, we want to make sure we honor him and give him his flowers where he still smell them. That's the thing.
I never heard that before.
That's great.
That's
This is
great.
comedy hour tonight. I love it.
Really?
No, we just want to celebrate.
No, I've never heard that. That's great.
Why have a big
After, right?
Absolutely.
Do it
So we want to
before.
celebrate it. One of the things, and we've been talking about this for years, is having a parade, a homecoming parade during the Friday. While school is in that half day, and I spoke to Karen Wetzel, who is the instructional suit. She knows I'm there, so she knows I'm gonna be here tonight. So this momentum can go, whether with the changing of the guards, with the principal, that the parade, and they've been asking for years, when can Lake Worth resume with the parade?
They were great when they came downtown. I mean, unfortunately, during the day, there's not that many people to observe the parade because it's a
Well,
weekday.
what is a good time? That's what I don't know what's a good time, because I say we can come during the day, march through from Lake Worth High School and all the way to the little park at the end where you can.
Bryant Park.
Yeah, to stop there, you can.
Oh, no, we're all in, but I'm just saying that when we have a parade, it's, because you want it on the same, do you want it on the same day as the game?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It's part of the-
So, right, that's what I thought, right. So we'll just have to make people know that it's happening and to come out.
I don't know if something happened with the sheriff's contract, because we had,
That was it, right there.
when I was there and when I coached, and then we switched over to doing the parade around the football track, and then we switched over to the carnival under I-95. I don't know where you're at now.
Well, the COVID, everything just stopped.
Right, okay.
Yeah. everything.
So I didn't know if you all wanted the parade back or if the carnival had taken off.
No, the carnival,
Because-
no, when I got there
Okay.
5.5 years ago, we did not have a carnival.
Oh, okay.
We did have the march around the tracks.
Yeah.
However, the problem was the track was so badly damaged from cars and vehicles on that rubberized track.
Mhm.
We got instructions from the school district that no more vehicles, they replaced it, spent $75,000 taxpayer money to replace the track. And so I said, no more, and because I got my mandate from the top saying, you get a new track, no more vehicles on the track.
Yeah.
So we did the walking and it's just hot, on those days, but we just have to.
It's
bring
it's
that-
good to come downtown. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so like we've been asking, and I want to
At
put
least as
that,
far as the cultural climate.
and just put that in with the parade, and with the parade become police security and blocking off the street, I don't, we won't have the necessary funding to pay the police to do that, because I don't know what a police officer charge.
He left when he heard.
He saw you.
The mayor was like, I'm out.
He just shook my
I
hand.
go to the bathroom.
Shook my hand. I'm like, wait a
Bye.
Yeah.
But it's
And then he's like, see ya.
that we'll obviously have to negotiate and talk about.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's why I just put it here in
Yeah,
writing.
this is great.
Okay, and then on Saturday, it's gonna be a busy day. Everyone's alumni, whoever's in town get to do their own thing. What class were you? No, you taught, well, you went to school.
Yeah.
I graduated with Mr. Cantley in 1999.
99.
That's like he always
class.
says, we graduated the same year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I sponsored the
Nine.
class of 2010. I was a class sponsor.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
2010.
All right, when you were a teacher there.
I was a teacher
Okay, good job.
and cheerleading coach.
Okay.
Class sponsor.
So the next thing I'm looking to do is the gala, which is Saturday night, which is the 24th. And what I'm asking and proposing is that the ballroom they call it the casino, and I don't have a problem with the school having a function of the casino.
It's not a
because there's no, but we don't know. I didn't know that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I've only been here 6 years in South Florida.
Uh-huh.
So when I see casino, I'm assuming somebody's gambling over there. So I just want to make sure the image and the perception that if we.
Everybody knows the casino is not a casino,
Except
except you.
I mean, so
You're
anyway,
6
and the reason why we asked, because we were looking at where can we have a gala? But the alumni says you have to have it in Lake Worth and you have to have it at the beach. And this is why she said you need to have it in Lake Worth. Don't take that money to
Right.
Hilton by the airport or any other place.
No.
Keep it in Lake Worth and let's see what we can do to keep the members who grew up in Lake Worth and familiar with the building to support and go there. And I said I would present tonight.
Mhm.
So that is the piece. I don't know what it costs. I don't know, but I'm asking whatever we can do to make it happen. So we can start with communications, because we're talking about 4 months.
Yeah, I know it's gonna come up fast.
It's coming fast, and the Alumni Association, they put the word out, and I told them I would come tonight. Don't expect an answer tonight, but just let's talk about it and put some specifics.
Well, I'm glad that you came because we talked last year about
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
centennial and getting it done. It's exciting to see that you have this, and I'm sure that we'll be able to figure something out.
Okay.
Okay, but
Dr.
we're turning that over to Carmen.
Yes, I saw her taking notes over there.
Yeah,
She's
she's
keeping
taking
up.
copious notes.
Dr. Epps, I have a request for you. The Neighborhood Association President's Council, they do the 4th of July raft race every year.
So what, raft?
Raft
Raft
race.
race.
Okay.
Yes.
Not looking for me, but okay.
Okay, they would like to
Big
have the
number.
school in the raft race this year, especially because it's the 100th year.
Okay.
What's
So-
the 4th of July raft race? Neighborhood associations and different groups, businesses make a raft,
You gotta make it, it's man-made.
handmade. You all go out in the intercoastal and you have a
Usually
race.
the principal has to row.
So you're asking me to take my kids and put them in the water?
Yes, we are. No, it's staff.
No, it's staff.
Your teachers.
Get you some
Just a blood
waivers.
word, one of my teacher blood words,
Brent, yeah.
Brent, yeah, he would love to, he surfs all the time.
Yeah.
So the challenge is on, I accept.
Yeah.
So I will send you some detailed emails in the next coming days.
If you all know Brent Bloodworth, he's a warrior.
We know him. He lives in College Park.
Oh, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
I used to work for his father.
Yeah.
That's
he took our students on a walking tour through Lake Worth 2 weeks ago.
cool.
He took the class, they were gone all day, just walking through and different sites and seeing, they were gone all day, so.
I asked him to present the video to us at the commission, so
Yeah.
he's checking his calendar.
Yeah, that was a great video. So, and that's what I put in. I did send an email to Superintendent Mike Burke, and I forgot to say I bring greetings from Mike Burke and Erica Whitfield, school board. But I did send an email to Mike Burke from the school district, said, how much can you come up with to support this cause? Because right now, the Alumni Association is gonna have, that's the only budget we have.
Mhm.
But I'm saying if we can whatever we can do to offset the cost for the gala, I'll make sure.
Perfect timing.
Jazz band is there for the gala, and then the awards, we would take care of to recognize our oldest active member and this member and distinguished members and.
I love that.
So the $20,000 would be in addition to the casino?
No, this is what I just put in, because I didn't know what the casino charged. For
Okay.
5 hours, 6 hours,
Okay,
just
so
to set it up.
that would include, 20 would include the
Yeah, this is just, we're gonna do everything.
ballpark,
For
okay,
Friday and Saturday, because the school can offset whatever happens on Lake Worth campus.
Yep.
We can cover that cost.
okay,
The cost is the cover for police presence,
right,
the block streets,
mhm,
and from Lake Worth High School.
right,
all
To
the way
Bryant
down,
Park.
Turn back out to Bryant Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, for however long it takes us to march and let people know ahead of time.
right,
Road closed for a minute, quite a parade member,
right,
and then they're open. So
we've done that.
How many floats do you think you'll have in the parade? Do we know?
how many did you? I don't know.
One for each class usually, and then some of the clubs. I don't know.
Some of the club, and it's gonna be new because this is a very new generation that never seen it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna have much time
Oh, my gosh.
to do it because they're starting in August and this is in
It's a
September.
tough one
We need
because
flatbeds.
We need
That
flatbeds,
was like, it took me 3 months as a class sponsor to find a flatbed to even be able to build a float on.
really.
So that if we can put out a message to anybody that.
And there
has a
are those
flatbed.
companies that we rent for parades.
I don't know, it's like-
Well, how much? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you have a consensus that we're all on board.
with
I
you.
appreciate it, I appreciate it. So you saying the ballroom is a go?
We got
It's
to,
not booked.
We have to.
we got to make sure it's not booked.
We're all looking at Miss Davis over here.
That's about always checking. Somebody just can't say yes. I know.
You know, if it's open, we won't charge you.
No.
No, I just want to see what it is, because we can provide the music, the DJs and the awards.
You will need to provide insurance though too with us.
Insurance,
Yeah.
Yeah, all that part of that agreement.
Right.
That between the city and.
And there would be,
So I work with my
there
team,
would be liquor.
make sure our date's open, but I'll be in contact. We'll
Thank
work
you
it
so
out.
much. I appreciate it.
Great.
All right, and I just said thank you because. we're
Thank you.
excited
Good to
about
see you and thank you
All
for
right.
taking care of our kids and we're good luck on your retirement, but sorry to see you go.
Oh, yeah.
When is your official last day?
It is August the 28th, but they allow me to take July and August off on vacation. They're gonna start interviewing for the new principal on June the 7th.
Okay.
So I'll be there for June, the new person will start, and I said, please let me spend my 2,300 hours of vacation time.
Yeah.
But they want to tax me heavy on. I said, don't tax me.
Don't tax me, let me take it, all right?
Good for you. Congratulations.
But
Yeah,
thank you.
really,
It's been a
congratulations.
it's been a joy.
Thank you.
We'll be
And
talking.
Our graduation rate did go up to 95.1.
Yes,
Is it really?
So I'm leaving on a high note, so.
Really, your graduation rate, 95%?
95.1.
That's
We went up from
fabulous.
91.1 to 95.
That's
So
amazing.
we need an update on the flea market at some
Flea
point.
market, I'm waiting for legal to tell me what's to
What?
go, because I know you already said yes.
It's making me crazy.
And they asking me, I'm like, why is it taking a year and a half to say yes?
Lawyers.
Yeah, it's in our legal department.
No, ours is sitting behind you.
It's at the school board has it. Yeah, they have it now. But the Department of Transportation said yes.
Yeah, and we are fine with it. We have no jurisdiction over it. And so maybe our attorney, our people can call your people.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shake some trees.
Because the summer's coming and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and right now they've been rained out and.
No, it's horrible. Yeah, made no sense.
I don't know which one of the 15, but I can get to. They keep passing it
Yeah, we
around.
need to get that done.
They keep passing it around.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I mean,
What is wrong?
That was the question, who was the attorney?
595.
Oh, it's still on the
They're
parking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on the campus and they are.
Yes.
I've been talking to this for literally a
So when
year.
they're under 95, they have to cover. it.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
It's a perfect situation. And it pulls them off my campus.
Yep.
And the people who live on South A Street are appreciative of the fact that it's
Yeah.
not there every single Saturday.
They keep me unsightly, and they started Friday night setting up.
Yep.
late. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Be in touch.
All right, take care. Thank you so much. Oh, you're getting the card.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot one important announcement.
What did you forget?
This is very important.
Okay, let's wait till Dr. Epps is.
Yes.
All right.
As I like to do is celebrate the accomplishments of our staff.
Yeah.
And so I've been so busy all day, haven't read my emails, but I happened to glance down on my computer and saw this and said, I must announce this. So timely. Well, the governor, because the headline says, governor appoints 6 to the BCAIB. The BCAIB is the Building Official Association of Florida. He appointed 6 people to that group, and one of those is our own Peter Ringo.
Bingo.
Yes, our building official.
The governor got something right.
So we're so excited for.
Peter, that's fabulous. Congratulations. Really. I mean,
Congratulations, Peter, for this.
Peter is known in this city as just a really good guy and a really good, advocate for building
Nobody does.
stuff. So he knows what he does and he's well respected. So
That's awesome.
congratulations.
Yes, so that appointment is subject to the confirmation of the Florida Senate, so
That's amazing.
That's very good. 6 out of the whole state.
6 out of the whole state, one of our own.
Oh,
Awesome.
love it. Love when that happens.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you very much. Next is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion
To approve?
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
Chris.
Public,
That's right.
public hearings. This is the second. Wait a minute. That's 2025. Second reading of the revised municipal sanitary ordinance. Attorney, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number 05/2022 is the ordinance for the city commission of City Lake Review Farm and chapters and cemeteries, to update and streamline the ordinance of sub-building complex connotation and the effective date.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, Madam Clerk, were there any public comments about the cemetery?
No, Madam Mayor, I have no public comment.
Thank you. Okey doke. New business. New business A, which is Resolution 31-2022, the revised municipal cemetery rules and regulations. Mr. Brown, do you have a presentation? There you are.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
For the record, James Dunn, Public Works Director. Coming on the heels of the first and second reading of the updated ordinance for the cemetery. are the rules and regulations in this resolution. As we mentioned before, back on April 5th, when we had the first meeting on the first reading, we've updated, we pulled fees out of the initial, the old resolution. We changed on the language, we transitioned stuff from the ordinance that should have been in the resolution to begin with. We've updated forms. We went through, obviously our attorney's office and updated all of our forms, affidavits, and everything everything's brought up to speed now. We're basically where we need to be.
We're in the 20th century now.
Yes, we're.
20th century, that's right. Hey, it's a step in the right direction.
Okay, great.
As well as a lot of changes need to be made. And obviously, based on our conversation we had back on April 5th, those changes have also been made as far as putting any changes made to that need to come back to the city commission, not at the public director, works director level, or even the city manager level. Adding the perpetual maintenance piece. So all the stuff we talked about in the last meeting has already been added and updated with this.
Great.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. It should be meant to recognize.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, it's the face, that's why I was.
Who is that man? He looks a lot like Jamie Brown.
Which one, Bobby?
Next, we have the First Amendment to the agreement with RSM US LLP for the annual independent financial auditing service. Yep, yes.
Yes, for the record, my name is Yannick Kandahayo, Assistant Finance Director. This is the First Amendment to our agreement with our external auditors. So as you know, the first year we had with them was fiscal year 20. There were some additional work that they needed to review the additional services from them. And in addition to that, there was a Florida statute that required the CRA to have standalone financial statements audited. So that's basically what summarizes that. And we also added a $5,000 contingency for the full year. So it's for fiscal year 20, fiscal year 21, and fiscal year 22 and 23.
So this is in addition to our current contract.
Correct.
Okay. I hate to do pop quizzes on people, but do you know how much the regular one is? How much is $20,000 above that?
So the contract that was approved by the prior commission was 115,000.
115, so this will make it 135 plus 5.
Right, so this will be 20,000 for each year plus 5, so 25 in total per year.
Okay, Chris?
You mentioned that there was a change at, I guess, the state level that
Yes.
required additional auditing of the CRA. Are they paying for that or are we paying for that?
CRA is paying. Okay, so in total, CRA will be responsible for 40,000, and the city will be responsible for 60,000 in total.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much for coming down here. Next is ordinance 10, 2022, and an ordinance, I was about to read it. Regarding the notice requirement for rental increases and termination of monthly non-residential. We had done already, we've done the first and second reading of the residential tenancies, but we realized we hadn't done it for commercial. So this is going to be for non-residential, the same notice provisions.
We'll get to the first county to do this. Starting a trend.
We have gumption.
Yeah, I mean, last night's meeting, Green Acres is gonna move forward with the residential part,
Okay, good.
which both ways move forward with it, so.
So people are using this as an example.
Will we be getting royalties?
I love how you think.
This is it. Recognition.
So we're getting a discount on your fee? No, that's. We get a discount because we laid the groundwork. How does that work?
That's how it works, exactly.
So, but yeah, I'll let everybody know that Lake Forest Beach is the leader on this, and we're all very happy and following. So anyway, ordinance number 10-2022 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the State of Lake Forest, Florida, amending Chapter 20 Civil Rights, Article 4 Landlord Tenant Notice Requirements by adopting Section 20-22 Notice of Termination of Monthly Non-Resident Tenancy without specific duration, and Section 20-23 Written Notification requirements that to rent the family, which is all non-residential tenancies, to require 60 days written notice of termination of tenancies at increase in rental rates, front of severability, conference codification, and an effective date.
Very good. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion? Do you have any public comment, ma'am?
No, Madam Mayor, I have no public comment.
Again, I don't see any up here. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Wait,
Oh, I see a light on.
thank you. So I'm happy that we're bringing this forward. I'm happy that we are the trailblazers, right? Because we are leading the way and holding the torch. My concern is most leases, I don't know if you guys are familiar with tenant leases and commercial leases. Most leases, number one, require that a tenant give 6-month notice to
This
a,
is when there's no lease.
no, it's both.
No,
Yes, it is. It's both.
it's when the lease expires.
No,
Before the lease expires.
Right.
So it's the people without leases, and then even if you have a lease, 60.
it's 60 days.
Before, 6 days before
Your lease expires.
your lease expires.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is a commercial tenant has to give 6 months notice to a landlord if they want to extend, renew, or vacate a property.
Okay.
So when I called Glenn last week and said, I think that we need to extend this because on commercial properties, 60 days is not enough to find a new property, do build out, get permits and move a building or move a business. So I would like to take this up to 120 days for our commercial properties. I mean, I would love to go 180 to match what a tenant has to do for a landlord.
Not every tenant. I do commercial leases as well.
Most commercial leases is 6 months for an extension or a removal. So, I mean, I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I know that 60 days is not enough for a business to get a notice that their rent's gonna go up and find a new place to go.
What is that different? I mean, I just play devil's advocate. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I also say, what's the difference between somebody saying that they have to move their family and their children and everything else?
Because it's a whole different world. You have build out for a business owner, you've got to pull permits, you've got to get licensing. I mean, it takes time to do all that, especially when most cities are behind in permits and
Right.
licensing. The cost of materials for construction are a lot higher right now. And I just feel that if we're really going to do this, we need to at least make it somewhat of an even playing field. And I would love to see this go to 120 days for commercial properties.
Commissioner
Any
Stokes.
reason not to go to 180?
I don't see, I would love to go to 180 if I can get support.
I just want clarification around, so this is if you're on a month-to-month lease, or this is if you have an annual lease, or it's,
I think it's both.
It's both.
Was it both for the residential?
Yes.
Same as the residential. So it's 60 days notice if you have no lease at all.
60 for no lease at all.
And even if you have a lease, at the end of the lease term, if they're going to increase the rent by more than 5%, then they've got to give you 60 days notice.
Okay, I thought we said they already had something in place for people who have a lease.
Yeah, because if a contract doesn't, we don't override a contract.
We're not overriding the contract. We're just saying in our jurisdiction, you have to also get notice.
So at the end of your lease, you can't just be like, okay, we're gonna renew lease, but it's gonna cost you X amount of
I
dollars.
understand that, but I mean, okay, I mean, a lease is a private contract.
At the end of the lease, though.
Yeah, it's 60 days for the end of the lease.
Within this. Look, if I'm legal aid, that's a more difficult argument than the first one. And I think legal aid, when we first started this, was mostly concerned with folks on a month-to-month.
Right, I mean, that's,
So this is icing on the cake, however you call it. This is a little bit more of a stretch.
but this, if the, and I don't mean to be argumentative, but if the lease says 6 months, that's gonna stand anyway,
Right.
right?
And if the lease doesn't say anything, we're.
Then it would be, so if the lease doesn't address it, then it would be 60 days. But if the lease addresses it, we don't interfere with private leases. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
But this is if a commercial person who has a lease that's gonna end and their landlord doesn't come to them and waits until the last minute to say, oh, by the way, we'll renew your lease, but you're gonna pay us 50.
Your leases don't have the same clause for the landlord to give them notice?
No,
Oh,
commercial leases do not. That's
Well,
why it says if a tenant wants.
but
to
I
renew,
do.
You have
I
to,
think that's fair.
you have to let them know within 6 months in writing, registered mail. That's how most commercial leases.
Well, I mean, I've done commercial leases for a long time and it's retro, I mean, it's reciprocal, but that's,
But not across the board, especially with
Well, I'm just
one
saying.
huge landlord in this city. It is definitely not.
okay. So do you want to go to Commissioner Stokes?
Well, no, I just want to make sure I understand everything clearly, because when we talked, I thought there was already something in place for 90 days for a certain type of lease.
Mm-mm.
60.
I think about 90 days. Now, if you don't have a lease, this is giving people 60 days notice. If you have a lease and the landlord's going to raise it more than 5% when the lease term ends, 60 days notice.
Or more than
Okay, I thought you said that, because you asked me if we wanted to do 60 days or 90 days. Because there was something that was
Oh, you're
90
right, you're right.
days.
There was a state statute.
The statutes, you mentioned the
90
state
days,
statute
right.
for commercial. That's, I wondered about that,
So
yeah.
we have a state statute that,
That's
but
90.
so that's if you have like an annual lease.
That.
Right now, you're already getting 90 days.
But it's 90 days.
So the 60 would even be less than what the
Right.
existing.
Right.
Right,
So that doesn't make a lot of sense.
So,
We
right.
certainly need to go better than that,
yeah.
That's what
if it's to do any good.
Right.
That's when I called them and Glenn said,
You and I
let's
talked.
talk about it on the dais to figure out what.
90 days would be equivalent, because under state law for tenants.
And I was just trying to figure out what kind of commercial customer is on a month-to-month lease, because
Some of the small
I am.
places over here on Dixie Highway, yeah,
I've been in my office for 22 years and I've never had a lease.
yeah, and some of the smaller places, like the little
Yeah.
pocket places, they are just
Yeah.
month to month and it's cash.
Yeah.
and this would, even though they don't have, there's no lease, it still protects them?
Maybe because you'd have to give them that much time.
You have to give them at least notice.
That thing just confuses me.
I
How can
can,
you be there if you don't have a lease?
I can appreciate the more time because I definitely know of at least one business that moved in and had to wait a full year before they could fully open just because of the build out, permitting, all that process. So yeah, more time for sure.
Is,
Here. But
I'm willing to support 180 days, but I'm looking to people who are more knowledgeable than me, who know maybe the landlord side, well, that's terrible, it's an unreasonable burden or whatever. This would be the time to, if anybody knows.
pass it before July 1st.
Yes, pass it now.
I think 100, I mean, I have no problem with that. Just, imagine that's not an issue. Here's my concern, not concern, but here's what we have to figure out how to do, how to make this work, is we have to give notice to I think everyone that has a
License.
a business license, whether it's the rental, commercial or residential license, when our notices are sent out, that would be a good time to do that. Hey, there's a new, and whatever statutes we have, whatever ordinances we've passed that relate to this is the biggest one, but I think that would be a good vehicle to convey it. Yeah, because I get my little notices.
Remember, the city's not enforcing this in that sense of we're not in court with the landlords and the tenants. It's the tenant will have a lawyer, legal aid in the residential world,
Right,
wherever it is in the commercial world. This only gives that lawyer and that tenant a tool.
Okay.
Work.
Right.
so we are not looking to enforce it, because that's one of the questions that I've
We're not in
gotten.
court, and we're not.
Okay.
People, we're not doing any of that. We're simply saying, here's a tool. Remember the genesis was legal aid saying, give us some tools in our toolbox.
Right.
When we go to court with people that are getting evicted and having these huge rent increases.
Yeah.
That's really where this all came from.
It also sets the tone for people, who might be looking at buying some of our properties here to land bank or to do unscrupulous things that, we've got our business owners back here.
So 180? So we'll just change the number?
180.
So do we need a motion to amend? Because there was already a motion on the table.
Okay, who made the motion?
I think I did.
Change the motion.
I amend my motion to change the provision for 60 days to 180 days.
Thank you guys for hearing that out.
Yeah, no, of course. We're a team.
I believe it is in section 2023 and maybe elsewhere too.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Attorney. Thank
Could I
you.
make one comment that is sort of while we're on the general topic? Mayor, you
Sure.
drew our attention to the July deadline. And you raised the issue of trying to provide some guidance to landlords and things in the town. If we want to consider some sort of a vacancy tax to help encourage people to get businesses into businesses, we might want to get on that pretty quickly. That's my.
Mr. Trisavia, what do you know about that?
Pop quiz.
Because it comes up, it pops up.
Vacancy.
Vacancy taxes, things like that.
A soil scientist using legal terms that doesn't know what we're talking about, so please correct me on the names.
We've been asked about it for commercial, like empty storefronts, as well as separately vacant lots. So
This is something I've looked into. It was obviously on my priority list when we had the visioning
Mhm.
workshop the other week. And it's something I think it's a matter of looking for what the precedent is out there. And I do think it's something we should look at, especially on our commercial corridors, right? Lake and Lucerne and Dixie at the very least.
Okay, let's think this through.
Yeah.
Well, do you have to,
If there's a vacant business, because I'm thinking about July 1st,
yeah,
if there's a vacant building or vacant lot, there is no business there to fail by more than 15%.
well, if your business is incorporated as a commercial real estate.
Right, put some real estate portfolio.
That's what I'm thinking.
But that's value, that's not income.
No, it is income.
Income. Well, not if it's,
Really.
if it's not rented out, you're not making any money.
But if you're charging them now, you're costing them extra money because it's not rented out. I just don't know how they will look at that.
I don't, yeah, they take tax to, they have their financial wizards figure out how to make it work for them.
Yeah, they make the money in other cities and then write off the losses here.
I mean, what you're saying, research this and come back with something that.
It would be interesting for somebody, I'm sure it's been done. I don't think we're inventing a wheel here.
But the new tax is the new law, right, imposes the penalty if there's
Okay, right.
Right, so we are on a
That's-
deadline.
a whole different
Yeah, well, we'd like to get it done
for
soon.
July 1st.
Yeah,
Right.
so can you yes. I
June
think we
1st
all would
and
like you
first
to
and second
research it.
readings in June.
Right.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, we're gonna fast track it, but I do think that if we're gonna do it, because I don't think that law is gonna be retroactive.
No, I think it's gonna, anything that passes after July 1st.
They're gonna
So
look
I'm gonna look at, if we do it, I'll draft it as if Lake and Lucerne,
I would say all the
in
quarters,
Dixie,
Dixie,
Yeah.
Federal.
I think so.
but then, I
there's
mean,
not much on
It's not as
federal.
big an issue.
Right, that's.
But major thoroughfares.
major thoroughfare.
We identify them.
We have major thoroughfare guidelines, which would be part of that.
Um,
And
Yeah.
what kind of a tax?
What's already been done.
So, well, what the-
That's really what we need some go.
We can do.
Yeah, if you could come back to us, if you're home working,
We want to be reasonable.
Homework is-
you've got a staff to do this.
And if you're gonna sell this idea to another city.
Right.
You want the
You
royal.
charge the next city the same to write the ordinances you charge. Do we get like a cut?
That's what I said. Do we get a discount? Because all you gotta do is copy and paste now.
Is Dr. Epps gonna give you special credit for like my homework assignment?
You're right.
He left, working.
So it has been done elsewhere, and I've
Yeah.
seen.
Have you done actual research that you could give Glenn some guidance on where to look?
It's something I've been like, yeah, we can talk about that. Most of the stuff I've seen doesn't help us directly. It's in Canada. There's like models of
Right,
it.
that's what I was.
There are some, I think, from my understanding, that's where, I could probably use help finding if somebody in Florida has done it. Doubtful.
We need a
US has done it.
law clerk from Nova to do our little
I
research
I think
project.
I can, that's also an option.
Yeah.
If I reach out to and other organizations to help out, but my understanding, there's different ways of calculating it, and a popular way seems to be like curb frontage and how much space is being not used essentially.
And it would obviously be like, if your tenant moves out, you have a certain amount of time to show.
Right, no, but
We're
then we
not-
have some that
Like here.
like after a certain amount of time. I mean, there were other options too, not just a tax, but there were some cities that I had heard, and a friend of mine had done a little research on this. I can ask her about it. That, you have to open the storefront you have to, instead of a tax, the high school can have art in their windows, that kind of stuff to make it at least look not like a dead storefront, which is more creative. And I don't know if we have time to be creative, but if there could be a little joint effort, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Another thing, just Madam Mayor, that one of the things that I ran on, and I brought this to staff a while ago, was city issued state mandated for rent signs. So a for rent sign on a property would have the business license number on it. And it would be a city issued for rent sign. So then code enforcement driving through would automatically know that that property's been inspected and licensed. Renters would know that it's a good upstanding landlord. And it also will help the eyes on the streets know what is a good and good landlord and who is not playing by the rules, right, as far as their licensing.
All for
And
it.
there have been other cities in North America that have done standard for rent signs that are.
Palm
city
Beach,
issued
it can't be
only.
more than 12 by 3, I think.
But it would generate, it won't generate revenue, but it'll pay for itself, because actually when landlords apply for the license, they're gonna have to get
Buy
one
the
for rent
sign.
sign. And has to go in either in the window or in their yard, or, whatever.
and have the number on it.
And it has their business license number on it, and every year when their business license renews, it gets a new decal to go on. And it would help get rid of some of the slumlords, and I think if we can, whatever we can marry in these different layers, this is an easy tool for code enforcement, especially renters.
Yeah, I love it, because it falls in line with our notice requirements, protecting
Right.
small business, so.
And I still really want, and I spoke with Mr. Waters, we all want to get a handbook made for tenants.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For landlords, and it's just like in our spare time.
Can we, I feel like we can hire somebody to help us.
What about all those kids that are coming into work for the summer?
I don't know what they're doing.
But like we hired somebody to help us put together our historical preservation guidelines. That to me, the handbook, I think
This?
legal aid already has, yeah, we can hire people to do things like that. Legal aid already has tenant, landlord information.
Remember, I gave you one of those books, I think.
Right, so maybe we can, I feel like
Okay, I
that,
didn't-
it could be an easy,
Can I get one of those?
take this, incorporate it with that, make it specific to Lake Worth.
Yeah, throw in the ordinances that are there and what it pertains to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, break the ordinance down to layman
Show
terms.
to, right,
like
show
you can
the
understand.
authority for what you're saying, this is what, yeah, because people, and do it in 3 languages. And because, for the tenants to know what they are entitled to and what the landlords know they need to do.
Right, but it's also protecting the landlords too, I mean, it's a
It's for
twofer.
both, for both. Okay, so that'll be
So do we have consensus on that?
for somebody to do something, yeah?
Yes, signs. I got lots of research for you.
Bring you back and report next meeting, even if it's just verbal, so you know where we're at. Maybe an ordinance.
Okay.
Love that.
Step is just going over what our next meetings are, so we all remember and make it here.
Do we have to meet tomorrow? No.
I would look at that myself.
The pre-agenda, no.
There's gonna be, we have the agenda, potential agenda for the 17th. There's gonna be a couple added on presentations.
And is it the 17th or is it the 19th?
The 19th.
19th, so that's changed.
This actually says the 17th, but it should say. the
It should say the 19th.
Okay.
Right, and
And the 17th, we are reporting to.
Where?
State Fair.
Fairgrounds, yeah. And you go in, okay, when you come off of Southern Boulevard, you make a right-hand turn in the second entrance and there's gate 10. And you just go in there. It's right at the main building. It's pretty.
Wear comfortable
Appointment tells
shoes.
us all this.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Take water and wear comfortable shoes. That's my only advice.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
so just a reminder, then May 18th, instead of it being a budget workshop, it is the charrette,
L&M.
L&M charrette work in progress presentation, starting at 6 p.m.
So the 17th, we're at the high school graduation, the 18th, we're here, and then the 19th, we're here. It's good to know we get along.
You must have when you don't see us.
I do. I think people.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
All in favor?
I.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. 7:39.
Somebody call Herman.
Look at Captain Bear. He's like, what?